Hi guys, Wayne here. We're back on the adoption curve learning space, and today we're going to talk about calls that you would make where you have already done the awareness work and the goal is to try and move the ECP into the trial phase. I've got to say that I think this is probably the most important of all of the phases in the adoption curve from a salesperson's perspective. And it's my hunch that this is actually the space where we very often become disconnected from the customer. We think that we've moved them to trial, we haven't really, and then all of the rest of the calls that we make that are kind of sound like they're further down the adoption curve are actually kind of landing a little bit on unfertile ground, are not being well received by the customer because the customer's never really got onto the trial phase. So with that challenge in mind, let's think about what are we trying to achieve in this call. And the temptation is to say, well, we just want the customer to trial. And yes, that's part of the action, but before they actually get to that point, we really want them to be very carefully thinking about what are they going to do with this lens? Who are the customers, patients, wearers that I would be thinking about utilizing this lens for? And the goal of the next few minutes as we talk about how to do a best practice version of this call is very much to focus on getting the customer to think. So we really want to say a successful awareness to trial call is based around 3 or 4 key questions, and going back to your basic skills, we're really focusing on the open-ended questions, not the closed questions, which is a yes or no. And a reminder why that is so powerful in this space is because we don't want the customer to give a quick answer. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Yeah, no problem. Yes. That's essentially code for I'm not taking any notice. None of this is ever going to happen. When you ask an open-ended question in this space, the customer has to think. And whatever they think of, they will think is a good idea because they thought of it. So when we're getting at which customers do we think which wearers, which patients, which potential wearers are most suited to this lens, when we're thinking about what are we going to do to try and give you comfort with this lens, they all need to be open-ended questions, and that's the secret here. Okay, so 2 main times when you would be seeking to move someone from awareness to trial. One of them is with a brand new product, and your last call was an awareness call, and the next call is a trial call. So that's what we're trying to do. The time that I think you're actually going to utilize this strategy far more often is with relatively new products where you think you've already moved past this, but when you go back and look and you go, nothing's actually happening here, and you need to rewind then and go back in and seek to deliver the awareness to trial call all over again. So be prepared to do that. Okay, so the very first thing we want to do in this is to reaffirm the key messages of the awareness call. And a lot of reps would say, yeah, but I already covered that. Well, remember that a lot of messages come inbound to every ECP that we see. And unless they're doing something with those messages, the temptation is to forget those messages, and that's the reality. So if you did an awareness call 2 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago, and someone's never really done anything with that, they probably don't remember any of the things. So if you're going in with an awareness to trial call on Clarity One Day, you really need to go back and start off with a, hey, quick reminder of some of the key elements of Clarity One Day. So we've got a silicon hydrogel 1 Day, and it's in sphere, toric, and multifocal. And you're looking at your customers, you're saying this, going, are they following this through? And then it's like, so what makes Clarity unique is largely its positioning right up against AccuView Moist. So to the extent that we often think the main barrier to moving people from hydrogel to silicon hydrogel is price, well, obviously with Clarity, that's taken away. So some of the positioning elements of Clarity are similar price to AccuView Moist, so that's patient affordability, and clinically proven similar comfort to AccuView Moist. How would you rate the comfort of AccuView Moist? And most people would say it's very comfortable. You go, well, that's what you're going to get with Clarity as well. So we're recovering that space. Only in 1 or 2 minutes, don't need to spend a lot of time, but please don't assume that someone already remembers. From there, the first of our big open-ended questions. And as simple as, so thinking of a lens that has those benefits that we've been just talking about, when you think about your customer base, ECP, which of your current customers, wearers, patients, different for different markets, which of your customers do you think would most benefit from a lens that brought those benefits or had those particular attributes? Open-ended question. They have to think. Whatever answer they come back with is a good answer. Now, you may be tempted to prompt that. Don't. Let them at least give the first answer. So they might say, I'd think about that for maybe some new wearers. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I hear that a lot. Anyone else? So that's the extension of the primary question. Again, the temptation is to jump in and go, oh, what about these people? What about those people? Remember, as soon as you start doing that, they're your words. They'll say, oh, yes, that's a good idea, but they won't have the same level of attachment to it. So seek to just extend that primary thought with more thinking. Then, once they've said 2 or 3 groups, and you validate that, then it's as simple as saying, okay, that makes sense. I see a lot of my customers using this particular lens for some of those groups. Now, obviously, that's a plan in concept. What do you need so that you personally feel comfortable with that plan? In other words, what's going to make you have the confidence to use, in this instance, we're using the example of Clarity One Day. What's going to give you the confidence to use Clarity One Day for those particular patient groups? Question, pause. Again, the old way of doing it is to say, okay, so if I give you some trial lenses, will you start trialing some of those people? Well, the next 5 people you see who are like that, can you trial them? But that again gives a low involvement response. Sure. Which probably means I'll forget that the minute you walk out the door. So again, remember the key of this question is, what do you need? What is going to give you the confidence? So let them answer it. And from that answer, it's as simple, so taking their answer, as simple as nailing that to the ground, which is, so that's the third big question, which is, okay, I hear that. What do you need from me in order to help you make that happen? So that might be the provision of trial lenses. It might be organising a little training session with some of the front house staff. It might be organising a trial kit. Whatever those things are, and they may be obvious. But again, start off by literally just asking them what they want from you. And then summarise that, commit to it. And your final question is as simple as, how long do you think that'll take? And this I'll organise to come back once that's happened. The temptation again is to try and sell beyond that space, and I don't want you to do that. Simply celebrate walking out with an action plan where your customer has listened, has been reminded of the primary benefits of the product, has thought about which patients they are likely to use this product for, and has made some commitment as to how they can get the confidence to make that happen and how you can help do that. My guess is you're going to find this extraordinarily successful. It's simple. Work on it. Work on those open-ended questions. See how good you go. Thank you.